I want to continue this conversation around relationships. About 2 weeks ago, I talked about the speed of relationships. And now we're actually going to take a step further back, further upstream, right? Further up and look at the big picture of building relationships. I saw some stuff this week, people talking about building relationships in your business, build relationships. I think it might have even been from the sales side, building relationships, right? Building relationships. And it's like, okay, cool. I don't know anybody out there who would disagree that building relationships is not a great idea. But as I put in the write-up for this post, let's ask 10 different people in your business what that means. And what I love is no matter what they answer, it will be right. Yet what is the context within our business, within our practice, within our clinic, within the world we live in? Because let's be honest, and I've run into this in the past, there are different types of relationships. There are personal relationships, professional relationships, I think, which is really where we're drawing the line here. And some people get confused on that. Now, mind you, again, if I ask you what's the definition of a relationship, because I, as the business owner, practice manager, front desk manager, didn't define what it meant to build a relationship, then, right, I'm wrong, not you. Your definition is still correct. Yet what is it in the context of what we need to get done within our practice, within our clinic, within our business to be successful? And what does that mean? To create patient success and create business success. This is really important. All this runs together. If you see the last 5 or 6 in a row, all this stuff runs together, right? You know, if I put a headline on this thing that says, the 3 things you must ask on every new patient phone call, these things fill up, the viewership goes up. If I start talking about what is a relationship, how to build a relationship, the views go down, which is very interesting because everybody will say, I know that. But if I offer the 3 questions to ask on the first phone call, oh, I need that. And I'm like, but if you look at every list I've ever posted, the 3 questions, the five things you must do on every first phone call, it all stems from building relationships. It all is about building relationships. So this higher level stuff that we don't like, we don't get excited about, we don't make the time for because we go, oh, I know that, is actually the more important stuff rather than the 10-point checklist. That 10-point checklist, as a side note, is a way to build a relationship. It doesn't say on there it's for building relationships. There is no context, maybe even in the write-up when I hand that out, that it's about building relationship. But that's all that it's about. So building relationships, again, 2 weeks ago, I said it takes time. Building relationships takes time. The key here is trust. You all know the term therapeutic alliance. The key there is trust. So again, in my world, in my patient success, and my front desk success training, and my sales success training, it's all about building more trust. Here's the issue with waiting for it to be a therapeutic alliance, which waiting for someone to show up in the clinic. How much trust, if I gave you the option, and I said, Mr. or Mrs. Provider, I'm going to give you the option. Basically your course of care is going to hinge on 2 things: managing and setting expectations and building trust. Can we agree on that? And they both say yes, 100%, research proven. Say, cool. Part 2 of that, Mr. and Mrs. Provider. We can manage and set expectations pretty quickly, sure. Yet we still have to deliver on those, correct. And when we deliver on expectations, that builds trust, correct. So if I'm going to give you 2 options, you get 2 options, but you only get to choose one of them. I will allow you to build all the trust and manage all and set all the expectations in 1 hour, or I will allow that to happen over 2 weeks. Now remember, this is going to be a huge component of if you are successful, not only in a course of care, but getting someone to buy into a course of care, to schedule out a course of care, to agree to a course of care. So again, I give you 2 options, 1 hour or a week. I think I said a week originally. Let's just say a week. 1 hour or a week. Everybody will take the week. Everybody will take the week. Yet when we go back, I hope you're sitting down. Yet when we go back to our businesses, what are we doing? We're giving everybody 1 hour, maybe 45 minutes to do it. And all of you thought, I'll take the week also. So if I threw it out to you as a business owner, as a practice owner, as a clinic manager, If I said, look, can we agree that building trust, number one, and managing and setting expectations, number two, is actually the most important component to your patients being successful? Yes. So one of two options. I give you the option of I'll give you 1 hour to manage and set expectations or build trust for your providers, or I'll give you 1 week to manage and set expectations and build trust. Every one of those people, every owner, every practice manager, every clinic manager would tell me 1 week. I'd say, okay, let's secret call your office, right? Let's see if you're actually doing it. Because right now, all you're doing is giving your providers 1 hour to do what? Build a relationship by increasing trust and managing and setting expectations and delivering on it, right? So really, that's the mindset of this whole thing. Now, as I mentioned a couple weeks ago, and I won't dig into today because it's in the talk from a couple weeks ago, if you even want to build it more, go back before the first phone call, right? Go back to phase 1 of your client's life cycle, right? This all ties back into the client life cycle, people, and the phases of the client life cycle, and looking at your business as an ecosystem, further and further upstream. So we started in the current world where 99% of the people are doing it, which is in the treatment room at 10:30 on Thursday with your provider. And I said about 12, 13 years ago, wait a minute, if it works in the treatment room, why wouldn't it work before they arrived? And so I started moving it upstream. And it's funny because I moved it a little bit upstream, right? Earlier during arrival, then moved it upstream to the callbacks, right? Appointment reminders, then moved it upstream to the first contact, the first phone call, and saw, wow, that's where we got a big impact. And then you got to move it upstream even further, where your marketing program, your attraction program, your website, your content, your printed materials, all that stuff needs to build trust and manage and set expectations, which is building a relationship. So there's the context for what I'm going to share with you here. And like I said, this all folds in together, and everybody wants the 3 things to talk about on the first phone call. But without this context, I would argue you're not going to get the follow through. You're not going to get the accountability. You're not going to get people to buy in when you just hand them a sheet of paper and say, ask these 3 questions on the first phone call, right? All that stuff I gave you in the last 8 minutes is all the context for why we have to ask those 3 questions, for why we ask the 3 questions, for why we make sure the answers from the 3 questions are carried forward during this patient's relationship life cycle with our company. Right? So it is called the client life cycle, patient life cycle. We could call it, and we could even put behind it, the longer, so client life cycle, 2 words, versus right behind it, which is short for the relationship we build and manage with all of our clients. So now let's back this up and think about, right, what kind of relationship, how the relationship, what the relationship. Because really, the relationship is a professional relationship, a relationship with the business. Now, it doesn't mean you or your staff won't make friends and build personal relationships, yet the premise and the mindset has to be a professional business relationship, okay? So we can just put the personal stuff aside. And yes, we all know people make friends, become friends with some of these people. And that's okay. But that's not what's going to grow the business. Because I'm going to tell you, maybe we talk about this next time, building a personal relationship within a business is not the right formula. And there are different rules and different ways of doing it. Okay. So I will leave that there. So you're not looking to make friends out of everybody that calls your business. You're looking to build professional/business relationships with everybody who calls your business. Yeah. Okay. So that's really, really, really important. I've made the mistake, right? Where I turn this into more about the personal side of it. And I like this person. I don't, whatever it is. And it doesn't equate to good business. It doesn't equate to the right relationship for achieving what they need to achieve. Because really, you, the business side of it, building personal relationships out of people call and say, I need your help and I'm going to spend my money with you, is actually setting them up for failure. Okay. So we'll just keep that and park it over here. It's really important. personal relationships and business relationships do not give us the same outcome that we need. Okay, cool. So this whole idea around this professional or business relationship is solving a problem, right? And this is why that first phone call is so important. And this is why we want to back it up from the evaluation day and take it off of the provider, right? Because everything I'm going to tell you sounds like you're going to go, yeah, I do that during my evaluation. And I'm going to go, cool. Instead of starting it on evaluation day, right, building a relationship, let's start it a week earlier. And then let's continue to build towards evaluation day. I've told you guys about that trust trajectory. That's phase 2 of your patient life cycle. One of the goals of phase 2, which is first contact, whether it's a phone call, a walk-in, a fax referral, until customer arrival, is to build trust. I want to see an upward trajectory of trust, right? And we can do this through emails. We can do this through video emails. We can do this through phone calls. There's all kinds of ways to do this so that when that person walks in on a val day, when they arrive, before they've met their provider, we have maximized trust. We have built a relationship built on trust with the company and with their expert doctor so-and-so, their provider. But it's a company, it's a relationship built on what they need, what they want, and what the desired outcome, the reason they called you. That's what the relationship is built on. I talk a lot about the you versus me test on the first phone call. And so the how of this relationship really is that you know that this is all about you, the person who called the clinic, not about us, right? In personal relationships, we spend a boatload of time talking about ourselves, probably too much. Any successful relationship, we ask more questions and we learn more about the person across from us. And it's really, really, really important in this business professional relationship that we start that. And again, yes, the provider does that in the eval room, but why shouldn't we do it on the first phone call? So Jerry, tell me a little bit more about why you called us with this low back pain. All right, now I'm getting a story. Now I'm learning more about them. Now I'm learning what they want from us. Again, so once I hear that we can deliver on that, and I say we've helped lots of people with low back pain, trust builds. When I say I have just a provider for you, Dr. Jane Smith, trust is built. All right? And again, the trust is being built and the relationship is being built with the business and the provider who is the expert to do what? To get this person back to whatever they need to get back to. And during the story you learned, I just use this all the time. They want to get back to CrossFit. They can't go. And they want to get rid of morning pain. They have 45 minutes of pain every morning in their low back. And you tell them that I'm really glad you called us because we've helped a lot of people with low back pain just like you. Trust. All right, relationship being built. And I have just a provider for you, Dr. Jane Doe. Trust being built. So again, we have a relationship, a professional relationship built around them getting their wants and needs met, and even to the point of understanding the financial side of that, right? So when someone, again, just like with any personal relationship, uncertainty is a deal killer. Uncertainty in personal relationships, whether you just met someone or you've been in a relationship, will kill a relationship. Uncertainty is one of the biggest components you need to be thinking about in this professional business relationship. So in the how of building the relationship, you need to minimize uncertainty. And the social proof and the individual proof I just gave you around you called the right place who can help you with your low back pain builds certainty, right? Decreases fear and doubt. Builds trust, which all equates to building a relationship. So the sooner, this is probably the biggest takeaway from this Facebook Live today is again, we can build, yes we can build trust in a relationship in 1 hour, but man, it is a crapshoot. It is a coin flip. It is hard work. That's what leads to burnout. Think about this. I'm giving you a solution for burnout for your providers, for all of you. Increasing certainty and decreasing uncertainty in 1 hour, I'm going to say is damn near damn near impossible. And here's what I'm saying. I'm not saying everybody who buys in, you create, because, let me go back. It's damn near impossible because even the people who buy into your plan of care to return again don't have as much certainty as the person who this relationship building, the trust building, the certainty building started a week earlier. I've always said my goal is for the person to walk in the door, meet their provider, and already be willing to sign the plan of care. Tell me how many people you currently schedule that you believe walk in the door ready to sign a plan of care, where you can check all the boxes about fear, doubt, uncertainty, trust, wants, needs, goals, desired outcomes. If you can start checking all those boxes on my 10-point checklist, right, then you will have people arriving who are ready to sign off on a plan of care, right? In the current world, in our current provider physio world, we get people arriving ready to meet their provider, find out if they're in the right place, right? Again, if you check all the boxes on the 10-point checklist, people arriving know they've chosen the right place. In the other examples, they arrive hoping they chose the right place. They're going to wait to see if they chose the right place. So again, we're just checking boxes, increasing certainty, decreasing fear and doubt, building trust, managing and setting expectations. This is how we build a professional relationship, a business relationship. And we all know the better the relationship, the more trust in the relationship. And the more trust in the relationship, the better the relationship. And the more trust in the relationship, right, from further upstream, the higher probability that they will arrive, pay, stay, complete a plan of care, and do their marketing with you, right? So we were really spending time over this last month tying this all back together, right? You've heard this all. It all ties it in. I need you to remember all the context. This is context. Again, the 10-point checklist is a template, is a checklist to be used as a tool. Right, on its own, nobody knows what the hell to do with it or why to use it. I just gave you the context of why to use it. So now if I hand that 10-point checklist over to a front desk person and say, right, you're going to use this to build trust, to decrease uncertainty, to manage and set expectations so we can build a better relationship with our potential patients before they ever arrive for treatment. Now that's the context. That's building a professional relationship. So in this current world, right, and this is what got me to talk about this today, I read that building relationships and I thought, man, there are a lot of people out there going, yeah, my front desk does that. And a lot of front desk people going, yeah, I do that. And I go, how? Well, right, we have good customer service. We call them by their first name. We do all this stuff. I know about their grandkids. I know about their kids. I know about their community events. And I'm like, that's not the type of relationship we need. And I'm going to finish on this, so really take this home. All that stuff is in addition to everything else I give you. So if you come to me and say, Jerry, we build great relationships with our patients, and you give me all that stuff I just said, I know their kids' names, I call them by their first name, I'm like, that's great. That's not going to build our business. That's not going to get anybody to pay and stay. Might get them to arrive, but it won't get them to pay and stay, right? I'm going to say that's great only if you've done everything and done all the work that I covered in the last 20 minutes. Is that good, right? And again, the impetus for this was looking at that and going, oh man, everybody's going, yeah, we have great customer service. We answer the phone with a smile. We call people by their first name, right? We make sure they know this and that. We have coffee in the waiting room. I always love that, we got a TV and coffee in the waiting room and everything. And I'm like, okay, but how did you build trust, right? Because every relationship is built on trust. TV and coffee doesn't build trust. It's nice if you're doing all those other things. That's the take home today. I'm here to help you grow and build a business. That's what's going to grow your business, because that person who arrived, paid, stayed, what's the fourth one? They go out and do your marketing with you. They tell everybody about you, right? They will create a story, their experience. And it's going to be more than just they had coffee and a TV in the waiting room, right? There's got to be more in there. It had to be about me, the whole time, right? The exercises were about me, right? Every visit was about me, right? They made sure I knew my progress, right? The front desk was great. They always made sure I had my appointments and they collected my copays on every visit, right? All this certainty. You know, collecting copays, making sure people know they owe at the time of visit increases certainty. That tells you, me, the patient, that I'm paying every visit and I'm not going to get a surprise bill. And actually, that's part of the conversation you have with them before they ever arrive. And we collect that every visit so you don't get a surprise bill, right? All this little stuff goes into building that trust. All right, so really good stuff here. Again, we're starting to tie this all together, and I want you to see how this all ties together. This is what building relationships in a business that is focused on growth is all about. Thanks for your time. I appreciate y'all coming. Cheers.